Hey everybody, Charles for HumbleMechanic.com. Today we're going to be talking about 5 things you should consider before doing your own car repair. This is episode 93 of the Humble Mechanic Podcast. So DIY car repairs have been a hot topic around here lately, and today I wanted to give you guys some things to consider before diving into a DIY project. But before we get into the show, let's talk about the sponsor of the day, which is Rain Eater Wiper Blades. Having a good clean windshield is very important. It's a huge safety thing. And one of the key things to that is good quality wiper blades. So if you want a great quality wiper blade at a really good price, check out Rain Eater Wiper Blades at raineater.com. And it's funny because wiper blades are actually one of the easiest DIY things on a vehicle. So it fits in really nice with today's show. So a couple of weeks ago, I had done a video on DIY oil changes, and I got a little bit of heat on Instagram for doing the video because there was people that felt like me doing DIY videos was actually hurting the automotive industry. Then last Friday, I had a little bit of a rant about that exact thing, talking about DIYs and how important some of this stuff really is to the automotive industry. But I haven't really touched on things that you as a DIYer really want to consider before diving into a project. The first thing you want to consider is time. Is it a 3-minute job like putting on a set of wiper blades? Or is it a 3-week job like maybe rebuilding a transmission or replacing a cylinder head? Do you have the time in your life to do these things? Can you afford to be down your vehicle for 2 or 3 weeks while you make these repairs? I feel like time is one of the most critical things that you really need to consider before doing your own car repairs. You know, something simple like a wiper blade or a headlight, no problem. Rebuilding a transmission, you're probably going to be without your vehicle for a little while. Also consider how long it would take if you paid for the job. Is this a job that if I did it, it would take me 40 minutes, but the average DIYer, it would take 3 or 4 hours? It may be worth it to pay for the repair versus doing it yourself. So really think about how long you can afford to not only take the time to do this when you could be doing other things, but how long your vehicle may be down. Number 2 is tools. This one can actually push you towards not doing a DIY or doing a DIY, whether or not you have to buy tools. It's not just Volkswagen and German car manufacturers that use a ton of special tools. All car manufacturers use a lot of special tools beyond just a normal socket set. You have things like Torx and triple squares and tamper-proof Torx and all kinds of crazy fasteners. Are you going to need any of these specialty fasteners in order to do this job? You may have a job that, sure, it's only going to take an hour, but you have to buy $150 worth of special tools when you could just pay $60 and have the job done. Now for me, I use it on the other side. If I can find a job that I can do myself and I get to buy tools, I consider that a win-win. I get to buy tools, I'm going to have these tools forever, and in addition to that, I can learn something new and do a job myself. So make sure before you dive into a DIY project that you have all the tools that you're going to need. And a quick tip, you can also borrow a lot of tools from the automotive parts stores like Advanced and AutoZone. They may not be Snap-on quality, but they're there and it's better than nothing. Number 3 is space. Do you even have the room to do these repairs on your vehicle? I used to live in an apartment when I had my Mitsubishi, and I remember like replacing the intake manifold or something like that. It wasn't a hard job, but I know that the apartment complex wasn't happy with me having parts all over the ground and my hood up for the entire day while I did this work. So if you live in an apartment, you may not be rebuilding the engine or transmission in your car and having your car parked in the same spot for 2 or 3, 4 weeks on end. They may also really not be happy about you doing oil changes or brake jobs in their parking lot. So consider the space that you have as well before you dive into these DIY projects. Space also applies to when you're doing a project car as well. I know if I had more space, I would probably have 5 or 6 different project cars that I'm not even close to finished with yet. So space is definitely an important one. Number 4, and probably the easiest one to overcome, is knowing how to do it. Before you decide you want to do a DIY project, go to YouTube, find Eric the Car Guy, find one of the other really great DIY YouTubers out there, watch their video and see if this is something that you feel like you can do. This will tell you, here's the tools that you need, here's the space required, here's how long it may take. So now that you have a base understanding of what's going to be happening in this DIY, you can decide, yeah, I'm going to do it, I got this, no problem. Or this is a little outside of my comfort zone, I'm going to go ahead and pay someone to have it done. And number 5 is one that I think a lot of people really don't consider, but I know it's something that I always consider whenever I'm doing a DIY project around my house, not car related. And that's, what's the potential for me to get hurt? You know, I've heard recently of a YouTuber doing an oil change video saying that you don't need to put your car on jack stands, you can do it solely with a jack. That's not safe. I would never recommend that. You know, safety is so important for me, and the reason it's so important is if I get hurt, I'm out of work. I can't go to work with a broken leg. My job relies 100% on me doing these tasks. These tasks really can't be accomplished with a broken leg or a broken arm. You know, you really have to look at the overall picture. Is there a potential for the car to fall on you or a transmission to fall and smash your hand? You know, when I look at things, I look at, do I have to go up on the roof? I'm not scared to go up on the roof, but what happens if I fall? What happens if I break both my ankles and I can't work for 6, 7, 8 weeks? You know, that brings the household to a screeching halt and has a huge impact on our life. Before I decide whether I'm going to do these projects or not, I look at the overall scope of the project. Hopefully by now I've watched a YouTube video to see if this is something I even want to attempt, and really evaluate and analyze how much risk is involved in doing this repair. And if it's something that I feel like the risk is too high, I call the professionals. I just want to make sure that when the next day comes, I can get up and go to work. So like I say, be sure you're working very safe and smart. And a bonus thing to consider before doing a DIY project, have a bailout plan for yourself in case things go stupid. Have the number to a tow truck in case for some whatever crazy reason you have to get your vehicle towed to a repair facility in order to get it fixed. You may run into a bolt that breaks or a bolt you can't get out or something really crazy. Have some information, have a place to call, have a tow truck's phone number so that you have a way in the worst case scenario to get yourself out of trouble and get your car fixed. Because again, you may not be able to afford to have this vehicle down for weeks at a time. So, question of the day, what is the biggest thing you consider before taking on a DIY project? All right, guys, I'm gonna wrap it up there. If you have any questions or comments, post it in the comments section below. Hey, if you like the video, throw it a thumbs up on YouTube. I always appreciate that. You can also subscribe on YouTube or on the blog at humblemechanic.com. You can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, the blog, and obviously here on YouTube. All right, guys, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. Oh, I was gonna do a video on the mechatronic unit for a hybrid DSG, but I don't have the tools here. Oddly enough, I don't have the tools here to take this apart and show you guys how it works. So this one will have to wait for another week or so. And I've been fiddling around with this bent valve out of a TSI cylinder head. The timing chain came apart due to some workmanship issues, and I kept the entire bag of bent valves just as a little souvenir. Kind of a reminder of you know, taking your time and making sure you're doing good quality work.